All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive with me. And I have a pretty interesting guest today, somebody who uh, knows their stuff when it comes to uh, language and all that. We're going to be looking at something I found recently. You know, I'm always out there seeing what people are saying and thinking and how they're talking. And I don't know if you've heard this one, but it's this phrase, Ning Nong. And yeah,
Okay.
so we're going to kind of get into that today, and we're going to go deep and see if there's any kind of connection to, like, racial stereotypes, that kind of thing. We're going to look at it through the lens of like the N word and maybe even how this could be a part of like a new wave of Black rights or something.
Yeah, it's I mean it's interesting because on the surface, Ning Nong, it really doesn't seem to mean anything. It's kind of like
It's like a nonsense.
yeah,
Just two words.
yeah.
Together.
But what's interesting is because it doesn't have an obvious meaning right away,
Mm-hmm.
it's really open to a lot of different interpretations.
Right.
And so, for some people, they might hear that, and the first thing that comes to mind is the N-word.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's a really, really charged word with a lot of really awful history behind it. So it brings up all these questions about, reclaiming that word or changing how it's used.
Yeah, it's like, I'm thinking about like how the LGBTQ community like reclaimed the word queer,
Right.
right? Which used to be a really negative slur.
Yeah.
And now it's something that they've kind of like taken it back, and it's like,
Yeah.
this is who we are.
Yeah.
This is, we're gonna use this word to identify ourselves. So could Ning Nong be doing something similar, even though it doesn't really have that meaning yet?
That's a really great point. I mean, it's like, I'm thinking like linguistic judo or something. Like you're taking that power and...
You're flipping it on its head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you think about it, like Black activism throughout history, there's always been this element of like, having to find ways to communicate and resist, like under really oppressive circumstances. Like think about music, art, even like coded language that was used during slavery.
Right.
Like they had to find ways to like get their message across without putting themselves in even more danger. And, Ning Nong in its own weird way, it could be seen as like a continuation of that tradition.
Yeah, I see what you mean, but wouldn't it be kind of counterproductive to use something that sounds so close to a slur? Like, wouldn't it alienate some people who might otherwise be supportive?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a risk. It's a really fine line to walk. And there's probably no easy answer that's going to make everyone happy. Some people are going to be offended no matter what.
Right.
But others might see it as like a really powerful way to kind of challenge the system.
Right.
I mean, look at the debate around the N-word in hip-hop music.
Right.
People have been arguing about that for decades, and there's still no clear consensus.
No.
It's a tough one.
So how do we even start to make sense of this Ning Nong thing in the context of Black rights? Like, if we're saying that it could be proactive, how does it fit in with everything else that's going on?
Well, that's where things get really interesting, I think. Because, like, we're used to thinking of Black activism in terms of, like, marches and protests and speeches, really direct action. And that's super important, right?
Yeah.
But there's also this history of using humor and satire to expose hypocrisy and get people thinking differently about the status quo. Like, think about comedians like Richard Pryor or Dave Chappelle, right?
Oh, yeah.
They use comedy to talk about some really serious issues like race and inequality, and they make people laugh, but they also make them think.
Yeah, it kind of like sneaks up on you,
Yeah.
Like you're laughing and then you're like, oh, wait a minute.
Exactly. So like maybe Ning Nong is trying to do something similar.
It's like it's using absurdity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like by using this phrase that sounds close to a really offensive word, it's kind of forcing us to confront the absurdity of racism itself.
Exactly. It's like trying to jolt people out of their comfort zones and make them see things in a new light. And sometimes, the best way to fight something that's really deeply ingrained, like prejudice, is to just show how ridiculous it really is.
Man, this has been like a real mind bender of a conversation. We've gone from looking at Ning Nong as maybe being related to a racial slur to then thinking about it as like a way to reclaim power. And now we're talking about it as satire. It's a lot.
It is, yeah. It's a lot to unpack.
So just to like kind of wrap things up, I want to leave everyone with like a question to think about. Okay. So what if embracing the absurd, the Ning Nong, so to speak, is actually a powerful way to fight against those deeply ingrained prejudices that are still holding us back?
That's a good question.
It's something to think about, right? So keep those questions coming, keep exploring, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.
See you next time.
All right, take care.
You